Chapter 1113, 17 years. Chapter 1113, 17 years. Jian Wushuang's name eventually came to be known among many Jin Kingdom experts who had been fighting on the battlefield. Isn't Jian Wushuang someone who appears to be a mere expert of sword principle at the level of Eternal Realm? Yet his strength can rival an advanced celestial master, enough to make Chu Yang hold him in high regard? I think he's probably a celestial master. He can't be a mere Eternal Realm expert. Well, the world is full of wonders. He has only reached the level of Eternal Realm, but it's entirely possible that he has come across some great fortune or possessed some special skills that gave him access to greater power. That would explain everything. Everyone had different opinions upon hearing the news about Jian Wushuang. Meanwhile, when the celestial masters from the Jin Kingdom residing in the mountains that contained life elixirs heard the news, their expressions turned grim. Since Jian Wushuang has arrived in this area, it's possible that we'll run into him. We should be careful. Two medium celestial masters from the Jin Kingdom were discussing Jian Wushuang. You're right. If Chu Yang holds him in high regard, he must be on the same level as Chu Yang. Perhaps he has even surpassed Chu Yang. Considering our strength, we best be on guard if we run into him, one of them said. Of course, there were those who did not take the matter seriously. One vulgar man standing in the middle of mountains sneered. Jian Wushuang? Humph. I don't care if he's in the Eternal Realm. I better not see him or I'll crush him into pieces. Peerless genius. Even with such great talent, he'd be nothing once dead, a graceful girl clad in golden armor said coldly. Jian Wushuang's name became widespread in the Jin Kingdom after high-level leaders spread the news. However, Jian Wushuang was blissfully unaware of it. He continued to explore the area, looking for life elixirs all alone. Occasionally, he would encounter Jin Kingdom experts and would never hesitate to fight and try his best to beat them. Even if he failed, he considered it a chance to practice his swordsmanship through fierce battles. No opponent, except for celestial masters of the exceptional realm or a team of several advanced celestial masters, could threaten him. He was now stronger than ever. In fact, those experts could only hurt him. They would be daydreaming if they thought they could kill him. He was so confident in his strength that he had no qualms about openly flying around the mountains. Before he knew, he had remained in this area for 17 years. In the beginning of his time here, so few experts came to the area that it was highly unlikely for him to run into them. It also gave him a better chance of finding life elixirs. Later on, however, more and more experts arrived. Obviously, it became easier to run into them and thus, the higher the chances of battle. Now, he would essentially encounter an expert a month. He chose to fight each time, given that his opponent was not terribly strong. In the past 17 years, he had fought dozens of fierce battles of varying magnitude in this area but killed only 2 in the process. Even then, it was their arrogance that led them to their death. Besides experience gained from those battles, he also managed to acquire 11 life elixirs. He found 8 life elixirs on his own and obtained the rest from the 2 experts who had been killed off. He could use those elixirs to create 11 celestial masters. If he were to pass them to the Fire Points Exchange Office, he could get 110,000 fire points in return. It was a great harvest for him. While these life elixirs are precious, the experience I gained for my sword principle within these 17 years is far more valuable. Jian Wushuang flew slowly as he talked to Jiyu King. There was a trace of a smile on his face. He was obviously pleased. Since you've developed 3 Daos of the creation level, your next step is to figure out a way to advance one of them to the strongest level, Jiyu King said. Jian Wushuang was stunned. The strongest sword principle. Before he entered the battlefield, he had pushed both the coalescent sword principle and speed sword principle to the creation level. The Scarlet Yang sword principle remained at the universe level. However, he had discovered the method to break through into that level when he was in Taiching Palace. While fighting alone on the battlefield all these years, he had also been meditating and working on the Scarlet Yang sword principle. He fought more Jin Kingdom experts than ever, especially after coming here. As a result, he eventually found the breakthrough for the Scarlet Yang sword principle. Now, this Dao had completely combined yin and yang to form the yin-yang sword principle. The yin-yang sword principle was the last of his Taos to be at the creation level. Not only did the power of his sword principle that he could exercise increase, but his overall strength had also improved significantly. I spent a lot of time and energy advancing the Taos to the creation level. God knows how long it will take if I want to further it to the strongest level. Jian Wushuang laughed while shaking his head. It's essentially difficult to develop the strongest sword principle since one at the creation level can hardly match up to it. Your father entered a secret land and cultivated for 100,000 years to complete this. Moreover, he also has an advantage in having the body of a sword spirit and exceptional talent. You're equally talented, but your cultivation time is still too short. So, take it easy, Jiyu King said. I'm not too worried about advancing my sword principles, but I won't be able to make a realm breakthrough if I don't develop a strongest sword principle. In fact, I can become a Tao master right away, but I have to suppress it on purpose. It isn't exactly easy for me, Jian Wushuang said with a wry smile. He had long met the requirements of becoming a Tao master, but he was ambitious. He wanted to first develop the strongest sword principle and made it his foundation. Doing so would mean that his potential and strength could go even further in the future. Hang in there. If you want to make progress, you must suppress your own realm. But you needn't worry about it much. You'll be able to break through your bottleneck once any of the three sword principles reaches the strongest level, Jiyu King explained. You only need to make one sword principle your foundation in order to become a Tao master. Once you've made your choice, you won't be able to improve the chosen sword principle anymore, but you can still work on the other two. Chapter 11:14 A huge commotion. Chapter 11:14 A huge commotion. Hearing those words, Jian Wushuang nodded in agreement. He was very ambitious. If possible, he wished to advance his three sword principles to the strongest level. He could then integrate them and create an unprecedented Dharma body. However, he knew what a challenge it would be. Right now, he only wished to develop the strongest sword principle as his foundation and become a Tao master. His strength would surely skyrocket afterward. That feat was much easier said than done. Take it easy. Jian Wushuang tried to comfort himself. Just as he was stewing in his thoughts. Buzz! Out of nowhere, a mighty aura erupted in the middle of the mountain range. The moment it did, a rich aroma of elixir wafted out and began to fill the area. The celestial masters who were looking for life elixirs in the same area were shocked by the unexpected phenomenon. What happened? The scent is so strong. How did it permeate the entire area? Something big must have happened. Jian Wushuang also caught wind of the situation and his expression immediately turned serious. If I'm not mistaken, it must be the birth of a precious treasure. It could very well be some sort of elixir-related treasure. Go and have a look. Jiyu King urged in a low voice. Jian Wushuang nodded in response, and then quickly headed toward the source of the scent. Simultaneously, other celestial masters from Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom had also rushed over to the same spot. Everyone knew that a rare treasure must have arrived for it to cause such a commotion. It was likely that the treasure had something to do with the life elixirs that were scattered throughout this area. Undoubtedly, the treasure had sparked the interest of many. The scent could be traced to the center of the mountain range. It took Jian Wushuang 3 days to arrive on the scene. Once there, he was surprised to find that the dense scent showed no signs of dissipating even after so many days. He hovered high above as he overlooked the land before him. The ground had collapsed and sunk in to form a sinkhole. A faint golden light could be seen peeping out of the sinkhole. That was where the smell came from. As expected, a treasure has arrived, Jiyu King said excitedly. The treasure caused such a huge commotion and its scent hasn't dissipated even after 3 days. I wonder what it is, Jian Wushuang said, looking doubtful. Just then, 3 figures flew toward Jian Wushuang and soon appeared before him. Jian Wushuang greeted them with a smile. Celestial Master Yi, Celestial Master Meng Long, and Celestial Master Jin Chu. My friend, Jian Wushuang, they said with great enthusiasm. They had also rushed over after catching wind of the commotion. They were evidently not far from the sinkhole when they noticed and thus, arrived ahead of him. Did you find any life elixirs after searching this area for so many years? Yi asked. He smiled so widely that his eyes narrowed into slits. Some. What about you? Jian Wushuang asked. We managed to find some in the first few years, but later on, more and more experts came to this area and our chances were lowered. Even if we did manage to find it, other experts would hurry over and fight us for it. Luckily, the three of us joined forces in the fights and scraped through them, or else, Yi sighed. Jian Wushuang had nothing else to say, for he knew that his friend was telling the truth. In the past 17 years, countless experts joined the search for life elixirs. Battles were unavoidable and they had only gotten more intense over the years. Though the three of them could work together, their combined strength was still pretty average compared to other experts in this area. Since you're around the area, do you know what happened in the sinkhole that day? Did a treasure appear? Jian Wushuang asked. The treasure did appear, but it's still in the early stage of incubation, so it's buried within. 2 hours ago, a Green Fire Palace expert broke into the sinkhole out of curiosity. He couldn't see anything except a dazzling golden light. When he tried to approach the golden light, a defensive barrier stopped him, he answered. What? Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up with surprise. A golden light? A barrier? Since the treasure is protected by a defensive barrier, it can only mean that it is controlled by some spirit. Judging from the rich aroma of elixir, the treasure is likely a palace treasure for storing elixirs, Jiyu King replied. Jian Wushuang immediately understood his explanation. It's the same for Jin Kingdom experts. In the end, everyone came to the same conclusion that we should just wait patiently for the actual birth of the treasure. Once it's completely revealed, we will then fight for it, Meng Long added. All right, let's just wait for it. Jian Wushuang had no choice but to hover around and quietly await the birth of the treasure with his friends. Before they knew it, a month had gone by just like that. During this period, the scent of the elixir that emitted from the bottom of the sinkhole never once dissipated. The entire area was still saturated with the mighty aura. But the treasure in the sinkhole had yet to be revealed. In addition, experts from both Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom, who were previously looking for life elixirs, had all came forth to gather around the sinkhole. Everyone stayed put and quietly anticipated the birth of the treasure. There are so many experts here. Jian Wushuang could feel the different intense auras drifting in the air within his field of consciousness. From what he could tell, there were over 30 celestial masters here. His field of consciousness was limited as he was only in the eternal realm. It could vaguely cover certain areas near the sinkhole but not anything further than that. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang had the token of Green Fire Palace. With that, he could clearly know the number of their allies in the area. There's a total of 42 experts from Green Fire Palace in this area. Jian Wushuang was stunned. They were all celestial masters. Moreover, he was counting only his allies. The Jin Kingdom would always have the upper hand in the battle if they were to fight against Green Fire Palace. Obviously, they would have even more experts on their side. That meant there were more than 42 experts from the Jin Kingdom here. Chapter 11:15 Birth. Chapter 11:15 Birth. I've received news that Celestial Master Yin Tong of the Green Fire World is now somewhere near the sinkhole, Celestial Master Yi suddenly said. Celestial Master Yin Tong? He's here too. Celestial Master Meng Long's eyes widened. Celestial Master Yin Tong is an expert in the exceptional realm. Coupled with the arrival of Celestial Master Qing Lang and Celestial Master An, there are 3 experts in the exceptional realm from the Green Fire Palace who have rushed here. Celestial Master Jin Chu exclaimed in awe. Experts in the exceptional realm were the most powerful out of all celestial masters. The possibility for these experts reaching the level of Holy Master was very low. For example, there were not even 10 of such experts among all the celestial masters in the Green Fire Palace. Yet, 3 of them have now come here. Since the Green Fire Palace has sent so many experts here, the Jin Kingdom won't be losing out either. I'm sure it'll be a massive chaos once the treasure is born and the fight begins, Yi said. Jian Wushuang looked exceptionally grim after hearing those words. He could already see the pandemonium when experts from both sides began battling for the treasure. Didn't this battle come just at the right timing for you, Jian Wushuang? Ji King suddenly said. The right timing? What do you mean? Jian Wushuang replied, flabbergasted. Weren't you discriminated against in the Green Fire Palace? Most experts of the palace reject you. If you want them to sincerely accept you the way they accept Yi and Meng Long, you need to prove your worth through earth-shattering success on the battlefield or even a bloody massacre. The upcoming battle will be your best chance to prove yourself, Ji King said. Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank after hearing Ji King's words. He was indeed suffering discrimination in the Green Fire Palace because of his mother. Even Yi and Meng Long didn't like him before. It was only after his display of absolute strength that both of them gained a newfound respect for him. Evidently, power spoke the loudest no matter where one was in the world. It was the same for Yi and Meng Long, as were the other celestial masters in the Green Fire Palace. You're right. This upcoming battle is a golden opportunity to prove myself. Jian Wushuang clasped his hands tightly. That's the spirit. You're now much stronger now that your three-sword principles are now in the creation level. Your swordsmanship is so strange and unpredictable too. If you try your best to kill your enemies, you'll definitely be a terrifying force. The paralyzing effect you'll have on your opponent will be significant too, enough to make those celestial masters of the Green Fire Palace look at you in a new light, Ji King said with a laugh. I understand. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned razor-sharp. The two groups of experts from the Green Fire Palace and the Jing Kingdom were both quietly waiting near the sinkhole. Out of nowhere. Boom. The aura that filled the air was already boundless and majestic in the first place, but at this moment, it once again increased sharply. The golden light at the bottom of the sinkhole became increasingly dazzling. Kaboom! The ground shook uncontrollably and the intensity only increased as time passed. The treasure is about to born. The numerous experts who were waiting near the sinkhole became agitated, their intense gazes focused on the inside of the sinkhole. While the ground was still shaking, a towering golden palace slowly rose from within the bottom of the sinkhole until it left the sinkhole altogether to go up to the void above. There were two golden words hanging above the main entrance of the majestic golden palace. Loyalty Palace. The rich cinnabar fragrance, as well as the aura that pervaded the atmosphere, originated from this palace. The experts' eyes turned heated the moment they saw the palace and all of them rushed toward it at an astonishing speed in the following second. The whole world erupted into a chaos. Hurry! We should go over there as well. Yi cried as he immediately ran. Stay calm. Jian Wushuang waved his hand to stop Yi. What's wrong? Yi, Meng Long, and Jin Chu frowned at him. This loyalty palace isn't to be trifled with. Look, Jian Wushuang said. The three of them turned to look at the palace and saw a layer of pale golden restriction stopping the experts from entering. One of the experts tried to hack the layer of restriction open. However, the restriction showed no sign of budging no matter if he tried alone or went at it with other experts. There was nothing they could do but helplessly wait outside the palace. What's going on? The treasure is already born. Why is there still a layer of restriction? We can't break open the restriction. The experts all felt vexed. Ji King, who resided inside Jian Wushuang, chuckled. There's a spirit inside the palace as expected and it's controlling the layer of restriction. I'm sure that no one can enter without its permission. No one can enter? Does that mean all our work will be in vain? Jian Wushuang frowned. Don't worry, now that the spirit shows up at this point and caused much stir, it must bear its own intentions. Just wait and see what happens. Ji King said. All right. Jian Wushuang gave a small nod before glancing at the three celestial masters next to him. Let's go. The four of them immediately went up to the palace. The majestic and towering loyalty palace suspended quietly in the void with its pale golden layer of restriction stretching around it for 100 miles, barricading against the numerous experts from both camps. The experts from both camps looked at each other in dismay. Just then. Crash. The main entrance of the palace opened. The expressions of the experts barricaded outside changed as they stared into the interior of the palace through its open doors. Their pupils rapidly shrunk when they saw what was inside. Pellets of red-colored elixir were hovering in the air in the pitch-black darkness inside the palace. These pellets emanated a faint scent of blood. These were none other than the life elixirs. Chapter 11:16, Chaos. Chapter 11:16, Chaos. The life elixir was what these experts from both the Green Fire Palace and the Jinn Kingdom had been wantonly searching this area for all these years. They had amassed a considerable amount of life medicine pellets after more than 10 years of searching. Thus, if what they saw inside the Loyalty Palace was several or even dozens of life medicine pellets, they wouldn't show such a reaction. The fact was that there were more than hundreds of life elixir inside. The number of life elixirs inside was enough to produce hundreds of celestial masters. To think that they would appear all at the same time. The gazes of the experts on both camps turned heated. If the Green Fire Palace obtains all those life medicine pellets, we can increase our strength significantly. Celestial Master Yi's gaze turned burning hot. One life medicine pellet is equivalent to 10,000 fire points. That means there are millions of fire points inside, Celestial Master Meng Long said, licking his lips. We must try our best to take them all, Celestial Master Jin Chu said passionately. Jian Wushuang stood outside the layer of restriction, observing everyone, including the 3 Celestial Masters with him, with a grave expression. Suddenly, the hundreds of life medicine pellets hovering quietly inside the Loyalty Palace turned into flowing lights that projected in all directions. It was as if an unknown force had triggered their change. The pellets shot out at the same time at a high speed, penetrating the layer of restriction and appearing directly in front of the experts outside. Their hearts thumped violently when they saw this sight. In a split second. Grab them. Hurry up and grab them. Oh God, there are so many life elixirs. They're mine. They're all mine. The entire world erupted into chaos. Mad. Both camps had gone truly mad. There was an outbreak of strong and ferocious Celestial Masters' auras as they took out their own magic weapons and joined the fight. Celestial Masters Yi, Meng Long, and Jin Chu became frenzied as well. Be careful, you 3. Jian Wushuang warned them. The Blood Mountain sword was already in his hand as he eyed the 2 pellets of life medicine closest to him. In the next second, he dashed forward like an eagle swooping in from the sky above and arrived in front of the pellets. There were 2 Jinn Kingdom experts who had their eyes on the same pellets as well. One was an advanced-level Celestial Master, while the other was a medium-level Celestial Master. Eternal Realm Aura? His Jian Wushuang. The 2 Jinn Kingdom experts recognized Jian Wushuang at once. So what if your strength rivals Chu Yang's? The 2 of us still killed him anyway, the cold, severe-looking young man with a fire cloud pattern between his brows shouted. Well said. The girl with bluish-green hair nodded heavily. The 3 of them had appeared in front of the 2 pellets of life elixir at the same time. The cold, severe-looking young man held a large and malevolent scarlet scythe. Bloody clouds surged in his body as he emanated a boundless and bloody aura. The fire cloud pattern between his brows radiated a dazzling light. He threw his scarlet scythe with a swing swift of his right hand. The sickle streaked the void as if it had traveled through a long, endless river of blood. The sickle arrived in front of Jian Wushuang in no time. Scram! Jian Wushuang roared, feeling the ancient god power pour into his body and the Blood Mountain sword in his hand breaking out with overwhelming might. He thrust his sword. This strong thrust carried the might of no less than 3 sword principles of creation level. It abruptly burst in power under the support of the blood-killing plate armor. Clang! The sound of collision resounded loudly. The long, endless river of blood immediately dispersed. The powerful collision also flung the scarlet scythe, directly impaling the cold and severe-looking young man. Fart! Blood sprayed from the young man's mouth and his expression immediately turned deathly pale. Just then, a strange sword shadow appeared behind Jian Wushuang out of the blue. The ice-cold sword light carried a ravaging aura as if it was a spirit serpent sliding through the void. It flew toward Jian Wushuang in a bid to pierce his skull. You're seeking death. Jian Wushuang's eyes glinted when he detected the cold gale blowing behind him. Without even bothering to glance at what was behind him, He swung his sword in a casual manner. Buzz! The moment a faint sword echo reverberated, the girl with bluish-green hair who used a strange swordsmanship to ambush Jian Wushuang had already encountered a terrifying consciousness attack. The girl was merely a medium-level celestial master with a fairly weak consciousness. She immediately sank into a state of muddle-headedness. Jian Wushuang's beautiful and shrill sword killed her without the least bit of resistance. What? Is that strong? The young man who was heavily injured after being flung away by the collision was deeply shocked. Jian Wushuang had severely hurt him with a single sword strike and then casually killed another medium-level celestial master with another sword strike. This sort of strength was clearly one realm beyond a typical advanced-level celestial master. After killing the girl with bluish-green hair, Jian Wushuang grabbed the 2 pellets of life elixir as well as the girl's interspatial ring. He then rested his cold gaze on the young man. "You're going to die as well." His killing intent surged high into the sky. He arrived in front of the young man with a single step and violently thrust his blood mountain sword. Bladed surge. He unleashed his terrifying killing move that contained secret strength. Oh no! The expression of the cold and severe-looking young man changed drastically. He brandished his blood-red sickle to try and block Jian Wushuang's sword. Clang! Yet came another loud collision. Jian Wushuang struck the young man so hard that the latter sank. The young man felt his arm numbing, but before he could do anything about it, the second layer of power hidden in the bladed surge exploded. The second layer of power hit the wide-eyed young man with basically zero resistance. Disbelief colored the young man's eyes as he breathed his last. With a swing of Jian Wushuang's large hand, he grabbed the young man's interspatial ring as well. Though it felt like some time had passed, he took less than the time it took for him to take a single breath. Yet, in that short span of time, an advanced level and a medium-level celestial master of the Jin Kingdom died in his hands. Chapter 11:17 Massacre. Chapter 11:17 Massacre. That fast? How is that possible? The Jin Kingdom experts were all deeply shocked after witnessing how Jian Wushuang killed the cold and severe-looking young man and the girl with bluish-green hair. In fact, they barely had any time to react to how quickly and effortlessly Jian Wushuang killed an advanced level and a medium-level celestial master. His eyes were steely and his killing intent was still strong. In the next second, he was once again displaying his power. He appeared behind a Jin Kingdom expert. The expert was a genuine advanced-level celestial master who had just obtained 1 pellet of life elixir. 2 Green Fire Palace experts were currently besieging him and cornering him into a rather pathetic state. Out of the blue, die. The expert turned his head when he heard Jian Wushuang's roar. The only thing he saw was a dazzling sword light that was as slow as a snail. Even so, he felt as if he had no way of dodging it. Simultaneously, Jian Wushuang launched a terrifying consciousness attack against the expert. His killing intent also charged at the expert. The consciousness of this advanced-level celestial master was not that strong in the first place. Coupled with the fact that he was facing Jian Wushuang's sudden ambush, his consciousness instantly turned sluggish. That sluggishness gave the sword light the opportunity to pierce his throat and crush his life core. In the blink of an eye, another advanced-level celestial master had fallen. Everyone, including the 2 Green Fire Palace experts who had been working together to besiege the celestial master, was stupefied. That's an advanced-level celestial master, not some subpar trash. But he's dead in just the blink of an eye. How can he be that strong? Even if he's a celestial master in the exceptional realm, how could he so easily kill an advanced-level celestial master? He did it with a consciousness attack. Jian Wushuang's consciousness attack is incredibly terrifying. Startled and furious voices came one after another from experts of both the Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom. Jian Wushuang, my friend. Celestial Masters Yi, Meng Long, and Jin Chu were equally stunned. They did have some idea of Jian Wushuang's strength, but 17 years ago, he was only capable of defeating an advanced-level celestial master with ease. Yet now, it was like mere child's play for him to kill the advanced-level celestial master. Compared to his level of strength 17 years ago, he was now evidently much stronger. He has become stronger, So much stronger at that. Yi sighed. He's really a monster. Celestial Masters Meng Long and Jin Chu could not help themselves from exclaiming in admiration. It was utter chaos on the battlefield as the experts put their lives on the line to obtain some of the hundreds of pellets of life elixir. The lofty Celestial Masters, who were rarely seen in the Green Fire Palace most days, had thrown all of their esteem out of the window to fight for the life medicine. In a matter of minutes, more than 10 Celestial Masters from both camps had died. 8 of them were from the Jin Kingdom, with 3 dead by Jian Wushuang's hands. Kill! Jian Wushuang cried, his killing intent surging high. The dazzling and shrill sword light once again flared. Be careful. It's Jian Wushuang. Be careful of his consciousness attack. Here comes Jian Wushuang. Hurry up and run. Wherever Jian Wushuang went, he left behind a trail of cries and screams. Ever since his 3-sword principles were promoted to the level of creation level, his overall strength had increased sharply. Compared to 17 years ago, he was now a whole realm stronger. With his current power, he would be on par with a Celestial Master in the exceptional realm if he used full force. More importantly, his swordsmanship was unusual. His sheer shadow swordsman shifted a consciousness attack that was unimaginably swift and imbued with killing intent. Once he swung his saber, nothing but death awaited medium-level Celestial Masters with an ordinary consciousness. Even among advanced-level Celestial Masters, there was a portion of them who were relatively weak. If they were confronted with Jian Wushuang's consciousness attack, they would be greatly affected as well. Once their reaction slowed by just a beat, they would also die in his hands. The experts from the Jin Kingdom who had witnessed firsthand the ferocity of Jian Wushuang's consciousness attack began guarding against such attacks. However, even with sufficient mental preparation, it was difficult to block such attacks. Die. Kill. Jian Wushuang's gaze was razor-sharp as he showed the Jin Kingdom experts, who were wrestling with the Green Fire Palace experts, no mercy. He moved so swiftly that his body was a blur as he weaved through the crowd, switching between grabbing the pellets of life elixir near him, killing the Jin Kingdom experts, and helping fellow Green Fire Palace experts who had fallen into peril. Jian Wushuang displayed the full extent of his power. He was like a storm that swept through the battlefield, leaving behind skeletons in his wake. The blade of his Blood Mountain sword had been dyed red. This was a massacre. This could even be described as a ruthless slaughter. This slaughter caused many experts on the battlefield to tremble in fear. Of course, this frenetic slaughter soon drew the attention of all the Jin Kingdom experts. They watched a peer in the exception realm closest to them fall to the ground. Don't be hasty, young one. The one who spoke was a tall and sturdy old man wearing a similar golden armor. He was armed with a heavy sword that was a whopping 10 Chinese feet long and carried an unthinkable weight. When the old man swung such a massive sword, he caused an outbreak of a gale with the sword. The sword was like a tsunami, sweeping Jian Wushuang from the front with a violent force. He's a Celestial Master in the exceptional realm? Jian Wushuang's eyes glinted and his mouth curved into a bloodthirsty smile as he took a step forward. The moment he took the step, he immediately lifted the sword in his hand. Simultaneously, the old man lifted his heavy sword and swung it at Jian Wushuang at once. The sword movement with the strongest offensive power. Earth-shattering. Clang. The terrifying sound of an explosion rang out in the middle of the battlefield. The aftermath of their collision rapidly swept their surroundings, forcing the Celestial Masters near them to retreat. The collision threw Jian Wushuang off, forcing him several steps backward. This is indeed a Celestial Master in the exceptional realm. What formidable strength! Excitement flitted across Jian Wushuang's eyes, not at all discouraged despite being at an absolute disadvantage. Once he regained firm footing, he once again charged at the old man. Die, young one. The murderous desire in the tall and sturdy old man's eyes was overwhelming as he once again thrust his heavy sword. Die, young one. The murderous desire in the tall and sturdy old man's eyes was overpowering as he once again thrust the heavy sword in his hand. The two of them once again collided. Clang, 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 clang. The resulting explosions caused frightening, ear-splitting booms, the madness spreading everywhere. In the middle of the battlefield, Jian Wushuang and the old man confronted each other head-on. The moment the two of them began fighting, their battle was already at its climax. Chapter 1118 Massacre for Military Glory. Chapter 1118 Massacre for Military Glory. A frenetic massacre unfolded on the battlefield. There were too many experts who had been drawn here by the birth of the Loyalty Palace. 42 alone came from the Green Fire Palace. There were even more who hailed from the Jin Kingdom. Experts from both camps summed up to more than 100 Celestial Master experts. They all participated in this chaotic battle. There was already a deep grudge between the two camps in the first place. Naturally, their battle was even more ferocious. Moreover, the number of life medicine pellets was only a little over 100. Many of the Celestial Masters got their hands on them with minimal effort after they flew out of the Loyalty Palace. Now that all the pellets were gone, the ferocious battle gradually subsided. On the battlefield, experts from both camps had mostly stopped fighting. There were only two figures clashing fiercely in the middle of the battlefield. These two were none other than Jian Wushuang and the tall and sturdy old man who was a Celestial Master in the Exceptional Realm. Someone whose battle prowess had reached Jian Wushuang's level would naturally be incredibly swift. In the blink of an eye, he and the old man had already exchanged hundreds of blows. Clang! Once again, an earth-shattering collision resounded. It was only then that the two of them finally separated from each other. Jian Wushuang hovered high up in the void, his breath still boundless and his battle intent overwhelming. His eyes glinted as he stared at the tall and sturdy old man. The old man's face finally turned a little pale and there was even a faint bloodstain on the corner of his mouth. In his eyes were unbridled anger. When the experts from both camps saw this, they were deeply stunned. How is this possible? That's a Celestial Master in the Exceptional Realm. Jian Wushuang managed to hurt him without getting injured himself. How is this possible? This must be a joke. The Celestial Masters of the Green Fire Palace were all dumbfounded. They were all familiar with Jian Wushuang and knew that when he first arrived, he possessed the battle prowess of a medium-level Celestial Master. However, they were hostile to him because of his mother. Yet now, it hadn't even been that long since he first arrived in the Green Fire Palace. Was a Celestial Master in the Exceptional Realm also helpless against him? Even a Celestial Master in the Exceptional Realm was injured after a battle with him? Impossible. The Jin Kingdom experts were also astonished and in great disbelief. This damned junior. The tall and sturdy old man trembled as fiery hatred burned in his eyes. He felt incredibly sullen. Yes, he was sullen. If Jian Wushuang had depended solely on his strength to injure him, then he must admit that Jian Wushuang's strength was above his. However, the clincher was that Jian Wushuang's strength wasn't at all above his. Jian Wushuang was indeed weaker than him. Even Jian Wushuang himself conceded this point. Even though his strength had increased sharply ever since he elevated his three-sword principles to the creation level, it was barely enough to put him on par with a Celestial Master in the Exceptional Realm. In a true battle, he was most certainly at a disadvantage. Even though he has tried his best in the fierce battle with the robust Elder, he was still at a disadvantage. The reason for such a development was because Jian Wushuang still insisted on confronting the old man who was putting everything on the line. In a head-on collision, the old man was naturally unafraid. In their exchange of blows, the aftermath of their attacks was equally devastating and affected them both. The only difference was that the old man received far less impact from the aftershock. However, Jian Wushuang's defensive measures defied heaven itself. Even though the aftershock was incredibly powerful, it couldn't injure him in the slightest. On the other hand, the comparatively lighter aftershock that the old man suffered ended up hurting him. This brat is clearly weaker than me, but his defense is far superior to mine, the burly old man muttered, clasping his hands. The battlefield came to a complete standstill after Jian Wushuang and the burly old man ceased fighting. The two camps of experts began determining their respective losses, as well as that of their enemies. The Jin Kingdom experts flew into a rage once they found their answer. Impossible. How could this happen? There were more than 60 experts from our Jin Kingdom. We have at least 20 more than the Green Fire Palace. The quality of our experts is better too. Logically speaking, we clearly had the upper hand and the number of our fallen peers should be lower than theirs. Yet why did our Jinn kingdom lose so many celestial masters? Another celestial master in the exceptional realm from the Jinn kingdom roared. Other Jinn kingdom experts experienced the same level of fury. On the other side, the Green Fire Palace experts were stupefied. Under ordinary circumstances, their side ought to suffer more devastating results than the Jinn kingdom. However, reality proved differently. After a quick calculation, they determined that they had lost 13 celestial masters. This was most certainly a great loss for them. The loss of the Jinn kingdom was somehow greater. They had lost more than 29 celestial masters. One more and that would make up a whopping 30 of them. How did it turn out this way? Just what exactly is going on? Voices imbued with anger came from the group of Jinn kingdom experts. In the next moment, they all turned to look at the young man who wore a blood-soaked robe and carried a scarlet longsword, Jian Wushuang. It's him. It's Jian Wushuang. It's him who bulldozed through the battlefield and ruthlessly slaughtered our expert. I was near him earlier and saw very clearly how he, from the beginning of the battle, mercilessly slaughtered some 20 of our celestial master expert. Had old Wu not stopped him, I don't know how many more of our experts would die in his hand. He's the reason why we're suffering such a massive loss. Jian Wushuang. It's all because of him. It's this bastard who single-handedly exterminated 20 of our Jinn kingdom experts in a short time. Furious glares, one after another, burned upon Jian Wushuang. These angry remarks dumbfounded the Green Fire Palace experts. Single-handedly exterminated 20 of the Jinn kingdom experts in a short time? Jian Wushuang did that. Jian Wushuang's robe billowed in the air and his already red Blood Mountain sword turned a darker shade after absorbing all of his enemy's blood. There was still blood dripping from the tip of the sword blade. On his handsome and cold face was a pair of steely eyes. The killing aura that enveloped him remained as overpowering as ever. From today onward, your name will strike fear in both the Green Fire Palace and Jinn Kingdom expert. Ji King's solemn voice resounded inside Jian Wushuang's heart. You've developed your reputation from this ruthless massacre. Your massacre today will certainly be a bloody myth in the Green Fire Palace. Chapter 1119 Nirvana Elixir. Chapter 1119 Nirvana Elixir. A bloody myth. Jian Wushuang shook his head. But that's not what I want. All I want is to let them accept me. Well, in that case, you've succeeded. Ji King smiled. Jian Wushuang looked around and found those Green Fire Palace experts all looked thoughtful. He's so strong, is that really Jian Wushuang? I heard that he's only been cultivating for more than 2,000 years. He actually has increased his strength to a level like this in such a short time, incredible. His father Nan is already formidable, however, Nan has been cultivating for 100,000 years in a secret land. Jian Wushuang may be lesser than his father, but just a little. But when it comes to cultivation time, his one is really short. Celestial masters from Green Fire Palace were all murmuring. They had finally been convinced of Jian Wushuang's potentials. Maybe, Jian Wushuang would grow someday to complete his mother's mission, and became a real leader of Green Fire Palace. At that time, buzz. Behind the open doors of the restriction-covered Loyalty Palace, deep purple lights shot out. It turned out that the 6 lights came from 6 deep blue pigeon egg-sized elixirs. The 6 elixirs were emitting an inviting fragrance. Anyone that smelled them could not help be lost in the aroma. All the people shifted their gaze on the 6 deep purple elixirs. Those elixirs. Most of the celestial masters from both parties failed to recognize the 6 elixirs, including those who had a profound knowledge of elixirs. They all frowned in doubt. Inside Jian Wushuang, Ji King just smiled at the sight of them. This will be fun. Ji King, do you know what that is? Asked Jian Wushuang. Of course. Ji King smirked. Didn't I tell you that life elixir is worthless in the eternal chaotic world and so many other elixirs exceed it? What you're looking at right now is the Nirvana elixir that exceeds the life elixir. Nirvana elixir? Jian Wushuang could not hold back his surprise. As the name suggested, it can help celestial masters take the most important step to transform themselves. Ji King explained. Take the most important step. You mean they can reach the Samsara Temple Master level with it? Jian Wushuang goggled. Yes, they can. But it's not as effective as life elixir. Normally, the medicine will increase the success rate by 3/10. Ji King laughed. 3/10. Jian Wushuang gasped. To reach the level where Void Temple Master, Samsara Temple Master, and Tang Emperor at Green Fire World had been in existence for 40 million years. In the wide battlefield, there had only been one expert who crossed that level and numerous celestial masters. That most important step to a celestial master was like ancient world to eternal world. The gap was too big. No matter in Green Fire Palace or the Jin Kingdom, even in the eternal chaotic world, many celestial masters must have been trying to break through during their entire lives. And the Nirvana elixir could increase the success rate by 3/10. How great was that? Even if it was just 1/10 possibility, Jian Wushuang thought, celestial masters would scramble for it. In the eternal chaotic world, Nirvana Exilir doesn't count as something extraordinary. But in Green Fire World, it's something precious. Even the Jin Kingdom will take it seriously. Of course, it's of no use to you. Ji King continued. Understood. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly, still staring at the elixirs. It might be of no use to him, but would be useful to Green Fire Palace. If he could obtain all 6 of them, unexpectedly, Green Fire Palace would have 2 more palace masters, which would bring their battle strength to an unprecedented level. The puzzled experts started to recognize the elixirs as well. Nirvana elixir in the legend? The crowd gasped and finally recognized the elixirs. All of a sudden, their eyes were filled with greed. In the eyes of most celestial masters, madness revealed. They became much crazier than when they saw several hundreds of life elixirs. After all, life elixir was only useful to Tao masters. They actually did not benefit from it. They only did it for their camps. However, Nirvana elixir was completely another story. Nirvana elixir could help them take the step they had longed for. It was such an enticement to them. Get ready, eyes on the 6 Nirvana elixir. When they're thrown out, we must do everything to get them. A black-robed woman in the Green Fire Palace camp shouted. She was Celestial Master and of Green Fire Palace. Green Fire Palace had sent 3 Celestial Masters in Exceptional Realm, one of them was Celestial Master An. Moreover, she was the strongest one of the 3. Everyone was staring at the 6 deep purple elixirs. Suddenly, one of the 6 elixirs transformed to a streak of purple flowing light and charged forward. The purple light shot through the restriction and floated among the crowd. Seeing the floating light, the entire battlefield got into chaos. Get them. Fast. We must get them. Shouts burst out in the crowd. Then, they dived into a fight scrambling for the elixirs. Both camps had gone truly mad, fighting each other for Nirvana elixir. However, in a moment, the battle was over. Chapter 11:20 3 Elixirs. Chapter 11:20 3 Elixirs. Humph. A snort came with mighty aura. Like a storm, it stopped many experts. Clad in gold armor, a middle-aged man stood in the center. There was a red thunder-shaped mark on his forehead. He held a double-edged giant axe, surrounded by crimson clouds like a war god. In his other hand, it was the deep purple elixir, Nirvana elixir. Damn it. He's got it. He's got the first Nirvana elixir. Celestial Masters of Green Fire Palace all gritted their teeth at the sight of this. Jian Wushuang felt regretful as well. The elixir had stopped at a distant place. The moment he reached there, the fight was already over. It fell into the hands of the middle-aged man. The man who carried a giant axe was a celestial master in Exceptional Realm from the Jin Kingdom. He was actually more capable than the strong elder that Jian Wushuang had fought. He had got hold of the elixir, and no one dared to mess with him. After all, none of them was confident to kill him. It's just the first one of the 6 Nirvana elixirs. Green Fire Palace experts comforted themselves and looked back at Danshin Palace. In the void of the temple, floated the remaining 5 elixirs. Subsequently, a streak of purple light flashed, then, 2 deep purple lights shot out. Following the first 1 elixir, 2 more elixirs were thrown out in different directions. One of them stopped near Jian Wushuang. Grab them. Jian Wushuang darted directly to the nearby Nirvana elixir. As the elixir flew out of the restriction, a nearby Jin Kingdom expert rushed forward, trying to take it. However, a sharp long spear that seemed to crumble the world emerged out of the blue. What is that? An exclamation escaped the expert. He was just a medium celestial master, but the long spear had come from a celestial master in exceptional realm. Moreover, the spear had been very fast. The expert was extinguished before he could act. Then, a giant hand grabbed the Nirvana elixir. The flowing light died down, and a figure appeared. It was a slim young man, dressed in bronze armor, which was emitting a mighty aura. Apparently, he was wearing a strong protective treasure. Celestial Master Green Wolf. With a hearty smile, Jian Wushuang appeared in the nearby void, carrying his Blood Mountain sword. Jian Wushuang? The young man was another celestial master in exceptional realm. He smiled. The Jin Kingdom experts won't let me off easily, help me. Understood. Jian Wushuang nodded. Although coveted, they soon withdrew in face of Jian Wushuang, Celestial Master Green Wolf, and other helping Green Fire Palace Celestial Masters. Boom. In a distant void, an overwhelmingly strong power burst out. In the void, Dark Celestial Master was pushed backward carrying her 2 long spears. In front of her was a plump bald teenager. He held a golden machete with immense killing intent. Celestial Master unfortunately, you can't beat me, the bald teenager shouted as he put a Nirvana elixir into his interspatial ring. Celestial Master An's face went red with anger but did nothing. There had been many experts from both palaces for the elixirs. But generally speaking, the Jin Kingdom was better. They had sent 4 celestial masters in exceptional realm, and the bald teenager was the only one she feared. She fought him and lost. Her elixir was also taken. Well, at least we get one. Celestial Master An let out a sigh of relief, looking in the direction of Jian Wushuang and Celestial Master Green Wolf. There had been 3 Nirvana elixirs, and they at least got one. If they had not gotten anyone, that would be a total failure. There are 3 left. I believe they'll be throwing out at the same time. We'll get 2 of them at least. Celestial Master An snorted coldly. With 2 more Nirvana elixirs, they would obtain the half of the 6, which was reasonable. The last 3. On the battlefield, all of them were staring at the remaining floating Nirvana elixirs, with eyes wide open. Then, as expected, all 3 of them were thrown out at one time. They were shot in the same direction. Both camps were stunned. 3 in on direction? All of them? That means we can 3 at one time. The present Celestial Masters were all agitated and rushed in the direction of the 3 elixirs. A scarlet-robed figure was standing in that direction. When he saw the 3 Nirvana elixirs were darting toward him, Jian Wushuang was shocked too. Among the previous 3 elixirs, the first one was too far away and he did not even get a chance. The second and third one shot out together. He managed to help Celestial Master Green Wolf obtain one of them. But never did he expect that the last 3 all darted toward him. Shocked, Jian Wushuang still managed to open his palm and caught the 3 streaks of purple flowing lights. He was holding the 3 Nirvana elixirs. Chapter 1121, Selfish. Chapter 1121, Selfish? I just got 3 of them like that. Jian Wushuang still could not believe his luck when he put them into his interspatial ring. Jian Wushuang, not so soon. You get the elixirs, the Jin Kingdom experts won't let you off, Jiyu King reminded. Jian Wushuang looked grave. He looked around and sensed numerous eyes burning with greed. Most of them belong to the Jin Kingdom experts. Kill. Die. Almost simultaneously, 2 figures in gold armors appeared beside Jian Wushuang out of nowhere. They came directly at him. They were the nearest to Jian Wushuang and were the first to attack him. Since when do medium celestial masters think they can kill me? Jian Wushuang smirked and drew his blood mountain sword, with killing intents in his eyes. Clang! A low echo of sword rang. A sword light was formed out of nowhere. Anyone who saw it would find it extremely beautiful, sorrowful, and hypnotic at the same time. At that moment, many Jin Kingdom experts squinted. That swordsmanship again. He used that swordsmanship to kill nearly 20 celestial masters of ours. Careful, consciousness attack. Some Jin Kingdom expert reminded. However, it was too late. The two attacking celestial masters were already in a trance and were beheaded by the beautifully sorrowful sword light. The two medium celestial masters were killed in moments. Bastard! His killing two experts made other Jin Kingdom celestial masters more furious. Their killing intents grew intenser. Jian Wushuang, this way! A woman's shout rang over the battlefield to Jian Wushuang. He immediately looked into the distance and found Celestial Master and rushing toward him. Besides, many Green Fire Palace experts had stopped some of them Jin Kingdom experts. Moreover, some capable experts were also dashing toward him. Celestial Master An is formidable. As long as I'm with her, the Jin Kingdom can't touch me. Jian Wushuang squinted and made the decision. Immediately, he dashed toward her. All the Jin Kingdom experts in the way tried to stop him. At the same time, their celestial masters dived toward Jian Wushuang. You can't run! A thunderous shout rang in Jian Wushuang's ears. It was the strong elder whom he had fought that stopped him, wielding his heavy sword. You again! Jian Wushuang's countenance slightly changed. The strong elder was a real-deal celestial master in exceptional realm and exceeded him in strength. Well, I failed to stop you last time. This time, you can't escape. The elder snorted and brandished his heavy sword at Jian Wushuang again, overwhelmingly. Ridiculous. Jian Wushuang sneered and wielded his blood mountain sword as well. Crash. The two clashed and Jian Wushuang was immediately defeated back. However, by the force, Jian Wushuang managed to sail through the void and got away from the elder. Slick. The elder was both shocked and furious. Then, he rushed toward Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, hand out nirvana elixirs, or prepare to die. A sudden roar reverberated in the space as a giant and powerful axe shadow emerged in front of Jian Wushuang. The axe shadow seemed to be able to shatter the world. Even Jian Wushuang felt that he might fail to ward it off. The axe belonged to the middle-aged man with a thunder-like mark between his brows. He was the one who got the first nirvana elixir. Another one? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. He performed Heaven's Bane in his full strength. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As Jian Wushuang darted backward, many other Jin Kingdom experts rushed toward him. Damn! Jian Wushuang's face darkened. Jian Wushuang, quickly, give me the 3 elixirs. I'm good at defense. Even if I'm besieged, I can protect them until Celestial Master An arrives, shouted Celestial Master Green Wolf, who had caught up with Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, pass the elixirs to Celestial Master Green Wolf. Celestial Master An in the distance also urged. However, hearing Celestial Master An, Jian Wushuang furrowed his brows and shook his head. Celestial Master Green Wolf, help block one Celestial Master in exceptional realm for me. Jian Wushuang asked in a low voice. What? Celestial Master Green Wolf's countenance changed. Under such circumstances, Jian Wushuang really should pass the elixir to Celestial Master Green Wolf. The latter could keep them until Celestial Master An arrives. Why did he refuse? Doesn't he trust me? Or does he think that I'll take all the credit? Celestial Master Green Wolf was both shocked and angry. Stupid, stupid. Celestial Master Green Wolf roared in his heart. Nirvana elixir is important to our Green Fire Palace. How can he be so selfish at this time? If he insists and let the Jin Kingdom experts take them away, that'll be terrible. He'll become the sinner of Green Fire Palace. Celestial Master Green Wolf was furiously in doubt. Other Green Fire Palace experts were all shocked. How daring he is. Green Wolf is right beside him. Why doesn't he pass the elixirs? What does he want? At this time, He's actually thinking for his own benefits. He doesn't trust Celestial Master Green Wolf and is not willing to hand it over. Other Green Fire Palace experts appeared angry. In their eyes, Jian Wushuang kept the elixirs because he was selfish and wanted to keep the 3 elixirs to himself. However, no one knew Jian Wushuang's real intentions. He did trust Celestial Master Green Wolf, and he was not selfish at all. The truth was that, compared to Celestial Master Green Wolf, the elixirs would be safer with him. Chapter 1122, Jian Wushuang's Madness. Chapter 1122, Jian Wushuang's Madness. Celestial Master Green Wolf is in exceptional realm and wears a protective armor. He is indeed strong in defense. However, I'm covered in blood-killing plate armor and cultivate golden image secret skill. Moreover, I have a strong body. In terms of defense, I'm better than him. His eyes flashed with excitement. When it came to surviving, Jian Wushuang believed that he was the best present. Compared to Celestial Master Green Wolf, the elixirs would definitely be safer with him. Prepare to die, Jian Wushuang. The strong elder shouted as his heavy sword became as gigantic as a mountain that charged at Jian Wushuang. Humph! The middle-aged man bearing a thunder-like mark on his forehead snorted as he brandished his giant axe at Jian Wushuang. Besides, the 3rd Celestial Master in exceptional realm the Jin Kingdom sent also arrived. He charged at Jian Wushuang directly. Damn! Celestial Master Green Wolf's expression changed dramatically. He glared at Jian Wushuang as he warded off the 3rd Celestial Master in exceptional realm. However, he could only stop one of them. There were still 2 more Celestial Masters in exceptional realm and a few advanced Celestial Masters that had targeted Jian Wushuang. Come and try me. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with immense battle intent. His blood mountain sword was shaking. Then, he struck quickly. Sword light flashing, Jian Wushuang single-handedly engaged the strong elder, the middle-aged man, and a few advanced Celestial Masters. The fight was intense. Bang! Bang! Clang! Boom! Thunderous sounds reverberated in the battlefield. At that time, Jian Wushuang released all the power in his body. His blood mountain sword was going full speed ahead. He had warded off the strikes from the strong elder and the middle-aged man with a thunder-like mark. On the other hand, the few advanced Celestial Masters charged directly at him. Humph! Jian Wushuang looked cold. A jolt went through his body but he swiftly recovered. Kill him. He actually wants to fight us alone. He's digging his own grave. The several advanced Celestial Masters who surrounded Jian Wushuang were full of killing intents. Jian Wushuang was only fending off the 2 Celestial Masters and ignored them, which left them furious. All of a sudden, they struck again. The strong elder and the middle-aged man with a thunder-like mark moved as well. 2 Celestial Masters in exceptional realm, along with a few advanced Celestial Masters, encircled Jian Wushuang. Bang! 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 Horrifying growls reverberated in the air. The thunder lasted for several seconds. The 2 Celestial Masters in exceptional realm and the advanced Celestial Masters had attacked Jian Wushuang 10 times, but it turned out that die! An advanced Celestial Master screamed furiously and brandished his sword at Jian Wushuang. However, he just crouched. At the next moment, a beautifully sorrowful sword light glided over. What? The advanced Celestial Master widened his eyes. Never did he accept a blow from Jian Wushuang, who had been besieged by them for a long time. He actually had the strength to fight back. Moreover, his swordsmanship was formidable and swift as usual. The Celestial Master was penetrated in the throat before he was able to dodge. His corpse fell to the ground. Get lost, all of you! Jian Wushuang shouted and again he brandished Blood Mountain sword. This time, he used Heaven's Bane to sweep his opponents. The advanced Celestial Masters who had surrounded Jian Wushuang all withdrew. When they had retreated to a safe place, they stopped to stare at the scarlet-robed youth carrying a long sword. All of them looked disheartened. 2 Celestial Masters in exceptional realm and several advanced Celestial Masters joined to besiege him. It turned out he actually killed one of us? The strong elder widened his eyes with disbelief. He, Jian Wushuang, Green Wolf, was fighting another celestial master in exceptional realm. At the sight of this, he was shocked as well. If he had been besieged like that, he would have been badly injured. He would never dream of killing one of the opponents. But now, go on. Jin Kingdom bastards, go on, I'd love to see who die first. Jian Wushuang fixed his cold eyes on them, and his provocation left everyone present in fear. The strong elder and the middle-aged man with a thunder-like mark both looked terrible. However, at this time, prepare to die, Jian Wushuang. With a shout, a frosty-bald teenager strode toward Jian Wushuang, carrying his golden machete. Immediately, the bald teenager clenched his gold machete with both hands. Power surged from him. Behind him, a golden dragon spectral image emerged. With overwhelmingly strong power, he struck out. Dragon Slayer. The bald teenager looked vicious. The moment he brandished the machete, terrifying strong power gathered and rushed to Jian Wushuang. Damn! It's Jin Yi. Celestial Master Jin Yi from the Jin Kingdom. He's among the top 3 even in Celestial Masters in exceptional realm of the Jin Kingdom. Not even Celestial Master and can compare with him. Moreover, this is his best move, Dragon Slayer. Celestial Masters of Green Fire Palace were all shocked at the sight of this. Celestial Master Green Wolf furrowed his brows. Celestial Master Jin Yi has performed his best and famous strike. Even if Jian Wushuang fends it off, he'll be badly injured, Jian Wushuang. Boom! A surging golden saber shadow fell from the sky toward Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang felt majestic mountain power rushing to him. The strike was even more formidable than the combined forces of the strong elder, the middle-aged man with a cloud-like mark, and several advanced celestial masters. Nevertheless, Jian Wushuang never feared. Come on! Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth, his eyes flashing with madness. Ancient god power surrounded his blood mountain sword as he expanded his body to 3 meters high. His body took on a dark gold glow. Then, he brandished his sword. Chapter 1123, Helpless. Chapter 1123, Helpless. Bam! The mighty golden saber shadow and Jian Wushuang's all-out Heaven's Bane clashed. Generally, Jian Wushuang was able to beat ordinary celestial masters in exceptional realm. But Celestial Master Jin Yi was much stronger than that. As they clashed, Jian Wushuang's Heaven's Bane immediately collapsed. On the other hand, the golden saber shadow was only slightly weakened. Subsequently, Jin Yi brandished his machete one more time. At that moment, he had covered Jian Wushuang's entire body. Boom! The blade light sailed through the void and pushed Jian Wushuang under the ground. Did he die? Celestial Master Jin Yi observed the ground emotionlessly. Bang! A scarlet robe figure surged from under the ground, stirring many gravels. He appeared in front of Jin Yi one more time. Jian Wushuang's scarlet robe rustled. His eyes were crimson and his killing intent had grown intenser. Like an immortal master, he stood in the void. Both Jin Kingdom and Green Fire Palace Celestial Masters were all stunned by the scene. What's going on? Impossible. That's absolutely impossible. Strong as the elder was, he and the middle-aged man with a cloud-like mark both find it unbelievable. His aura isn't impaired. A gasp escaped Celestial Master Jin Yi. Normally, Celestial Masters in exceptional realm were unable to fend off his best move. Celestial Master Green Wolf who mastered defense skills might fail to take the hit as well. But Jian Wushuang did. Moreover, he was not even bloodstained. His aura stayed the same. Even, Jian Wushuang was looking murderous now as if he would go to any length to fight back. How was that possible? Swoosh! A female figure showed up in front of Jian Wushuang. They were Celestial Master An and Celestial Master Yin Tong who came to his rescue. Moreover, many formidable Celestial Masters appeared beside Jian Wushuang in a row to protect him. All Jin Kingdom experts looked helpless. Jian Wushuang, good move. Celestial Master An stared at Jian Wushuang in astonishment. She sounded appreciative. Green Fire Palace experts were all stunned and looked at Jian Wushuang in awe. And the power of Jian Wushuang justified their reverence for him. Jian Wushuang. Celestial Master Green Wolf caught up with Jian Wushuang. Sorry. I was trying to take the Nirvana elixirs. Fortunately, I didn't. Otherwise. It was true. If he took the Nirvana elixir, Celestial Master Jinyi would be targeting him. However, he did not have the confidence to ward off Celestial Master Jinyi's Dragon Slayer. Hearing Celestial Master Green Wolf, Jian Wushuang retracted his killing intent and nodded slightly. I think I'm better in terms of defense, otherwise, I would have passed them to you without a doubt. After all, we all come from Green Fire Palace. I won't be selfish and take all the elixirs. Sorry, I got you wrong. Celestial Master Green Wolf apologized. Many other Green Fire Palace experts also misunderstood him. They thought Jian Wushuang kept the elixirs because he was selfish and wanted to keep the 3 elixirs to himself. Well, now they knew he had a plan. Well, we'll stop here. Celestial Master waved and said, of the 6 Nirvana elixirs, we get 4. That's really something. Other Green Fire Palace experts looked delighted as well. Between the present 2 sides, Green Fireplace had an advantage. They thought 3 elixirs would suffice. At present, 4 Nirvana elixirs had greatly exceeded expectations. Of course, Jian Wushuang contributed a lot to their achievement. On the contrary, the Jin Kingdom experts all looked gloomy. Many vicious eyes were fixed upon Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, it's him again. In the fight of life elixirs, he killed nearly 20 of our celestial masters and obtained a lot of medicines. Now, because of him, we get only 2 elixirs. He's such a nuisance. Where does he come from? And why is his aura only in Eternal Realm? The crowd complained and cursed. The 4 Jin Kingdom celestial masters in Exceptional Realm all gathered and glared at Jian Wushuang, teeth gritted. They were unwilling to accept the result. They were at a disadvantage, and they should have gotten more life elixirs and Nirvana elixirs. But because of Jian Wushuang, they did not get their share and lost more than they had expected. Nevertheless, no matter how furious and resentful they felt, they could only watch. After all, they could not touch Jian Wushuang. Although he had been besieged, he survived and even remained his strong aura. Now that Celestial Master Celestial Master Yin Tong, Celestial Master Green Wolf had joined forces with him, they were less likely to kill Jian Wushuang. At this moment, Celestial Master Jinyi discovered something, and then he became elated. At the next moment, swoosh, wind-breaking sound rang. A ghost-like figure in a black robe appeared on the battlefield out of nowhere. Seeing the figure, all Jin Kingdom experts looked delightfully surprised and bowed in respect. Heaven Shadow King, Heaven Shadow King. Their greetings resounded over the sky. Green Fire Palace experts all looked stunned at the sight of this. Bad luck, it's Heaven Shadow King of the 9 kings of the Jin Kingdom. This looks bad. He's an expert who can compare to our 5 palace masters. Heaven Shadow King actually came? All Green Fire Palace celestial masters were terrified. Even Celestial Master Celestial Master Yin Tong, and Celestial Master Green Wolf flustered. Inside Jian Wushuang, Jiyu King's voice cracked as well at the sight of the figure. A Universe Master. Chapter 1124, Heaven Shadow King. Chapter 1124, Heaven Shadow King. Universe Master was a level above both Tao Master and Celestial Master. Samsara Temple Master, Void Temple Master, and Tang Emperor were all at this level. Heaven Shadow King in front of them was a very Universe Master. Jian Wushuang, your defense ability is incomparably good, few Celestial Masters are able to kill you. However, a Celestial Master can't compare with a Universe Master. You should be careful. Jiyu King said solemnly. I know. Jian Wushuang looked grave, and with a flick of the wrist, he was holding a drop of golden water in his hand, ready to escape at any time. Wearing a black robe, with a lean face and a pair of eagle-like eyes, Heaven Shadow King appeared in the Jin Kingdom camp. He glanced at the Celestial Master Jin Yi and asked, "How's everything going?" "My lord, everything has been going smooth, but because of Jian Wushuang, we lost a lot, and acquired only 2 Nirvana elixirs. He alone got 3 elixirs." Celestial Master Jinyi said coldly. Oh! Heaven Shadow King squinted, but at the next moment, he fixed his vicious eyes upon Jian Wushuang. An eternal realm? You're Jian Wushuang, right? Heaven Shadow King was sneering coolly. I heard that you've got 3 Nirvana elixirs. Yes, I do. Jian Wushuang nodded. Hand over the 3 Nirvana elixirs, and I will spare you. Heaven Shadow King sounded indifferent. Hand over the elixirs, and you spare me? You wish. Jian Wushuang snorted. You don't. Then prepare to die. Heaven Shadow King still sounded indifferent. As he finished his threats, he swung his giant hand. With the twist of his hand, immediately, a long black whip rushed out lightning fast like a giant python. Be careful. Jian Wushuang, run. The Green Fire Palace experts roared. When Jian Wushuang saw Heaven Shadow King waved, he immediately consumed the golden drop of water in his hand to make his aura soar. He waved the long sword and released his mighty power. He was ready to go to any length to fend off the long black whip. But the black long whip was weirdly flexible. It directly bypassed Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship and slammed onto him hard like a soaring dragon. This whip. There was a trace of horror in Jian Wushuang's eyes. He had done his best, but his swordsmanship's speed fell short of the dark and long whips. Now he could only watch the black and long whip slamming on him. Snap! A crisp sound rang, faintly accompanied by cracklings of bones. Jian Wushuang directly spat a large mouthful of blood and grew pale. He was slammed into beneath the ground, but at the next moment, he rose up again. And this time he did not hesitate to escape. He didn't die. Is it because of the ancient god power? Heaven Shadow King looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. He just saw that Jian Wushuang had absorbed the ancient god power. Absorbing the ancient god power could make people's strength soar in a short period of time, not only in the attacking power but also in one's defensive ability. Heaven Shadow King was quite confident in his own strength. Although he did not display an all-out attack, he believed it was enough to end a celestial master in exceptional realm. Now that Jian Wushuang survived, he could only blame it on the ancient god power. It'll just take a little more effort. Looking at the escaping Jian Wushuang, Heaven Shadow King stayed indifferent and then vanished into black smoke. It's too strong. A universe master is too strong. As Jian Wushuang escaped, he looked terrified. At the moment Heaven Shadow King acted, he absorbed the ancient god power to improve his attack power and defensive ability. However, he was still seriously injured. One must know that his defensive ability was extremely good. Celestial Master Jinyi had displayed an all-out assault, and Jian Wushuang stayed unharmed. Jian Wushuang, I will heal you as soon as possible. Your combat power won't be influenced for now. But you must not let Heaven Shadow King catch up with you, otherwise, such an attack. A whip can't kill you, but a few more whips will definitely crumble you. Jiyu King warned solemnly. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded heavily. As he was escaping, he looked back to check. What? Jian Wushuang's countenance changed because he saw that Heaven Shadow King was constantly approaching him. Heaven Shadow King was much faster than him. How can it be? Jian Wushuang was shocked. You must know that at this moment, he had already tried his best to display the second Dragon Blood secret skill. The spiritual power in his body was burning wildly, and his speed had skyrocketed by 100 times. However, he still failed to get rid of Heaven Shadow King. And they were getting closer and closer. Damn, Heaven Shadow King must be very fast. An ordinary universe master will never be fast like this. Jiyu King guessed. He was right. Among the 9 kings of Jin Kingdom, Heaven Shadow King was much faster than the ordinary ones. Even though Jian Wushuang burnt immense spiritual power to display Dragon Blood secret skill, he still failed to escape Heaven Shadow King's long whip. Jian Wushuang, you have to die. Heaven Shadow King's eyes were cold, and then, he immediately appeared behind Jian Wushuang. At the same time, he whipped the giant python-like black whip. It was still so weird that Jian Wushuang could not ward it off. The dark long whip once again slammed on Jian Wushuang. This time, Heaven Shadow King did not hold back his strength. Snap! With a crisp sound, Jian Wushuang felt a burning pain on his back. His internal organs and bones were being squeezed as if they were going to explode. He was spitting blood again. Is this whip even stronger than before? Jian Wushuang's expression changed dramatically. I can't stand another whip, I can only take one last strike. However, when Heaven Shadow King found Jian Wushuang was still alive, his face fell. He was a universal master and actually personally dealt with Jian Wushuang, who was in Eternal Realm. He had confronted the latter 2 times, and still failed to kill Jian Wushuang. He found it embarrassing. No matter what, the third whip must kill Jian Wushuang. Chapter 1125 Sword Emperor arrives. Chapter 1125 Sword Emperor arrives. Humph! Heaven Shadow King snorted, and at the next moment, he was holding a drop of golden water in his palm, a drop of ancient god power. You've made me use the ancient god power. Jian Wushuang, if you die in honor. The indifferent voice of heavenly shadows echoed between heaven and earth. Then, the Shadow King guided the ancient god power into the body. The ancient god power could help a celestial master greatly by doubling his combat power in a short time. Though it was not that effective to a universe master, it still could increase Heaven Shadow King's battle strength by 50%. At that time, Heaven Shadow King once again whipped the long whip. It was still a casual blow, but the whip twisted like a giant python. It was obviously much stronger than the previous 2 whips. I can't stand it. Jian Wushuang suddenly squinted, and he felt he might fail to ward it off. Suddenly, clang! With an echo of sword, it suddenly snowed. The whole ground was stained with white snowflakes. The sky and the void became cold and bone-chilling. Heaven Shadow King looked surprised, and he could not help but stop. His black and long whip hung in the air. He looked up and stared as far as the eyes could reach. An indifferent man carrying a long sword walked slowly in the snow toward him. With every step he took, the snow broke at his feet. After a long while, he arrived in front of Heaven Shadow King. As he stopped, the snowflakes disappeared in an instant, and everything returned to normal. Heaven Shadow King looked gloomy, his brow wrinkled as he saw the visitor. Jian Wushuang was also watching the person, and in his perception, this indifferent man was just a celestial master. But the celestial master carried a horrible sword essence that even Jian Wushuang found terrifying. It was this celestial master that made Heaven Shadow King, one of the 9 kings of Jin Kingdom, stop his attack, and even look very serious. A strong sword essence. Jiyu King inside Jian Wushuang spoke. I have seen a lot of sword principle experts after I have parasitized on you. Like your father, you have opened up the strongest sword principle. The sword essence that you have is quite worthwhile. However, you can't compare with the person in front of you at all. So powerful sword essence, and only a celestial master, then he is. Jian Wushuang had already guessed the identity of the person. Sunrise Sword Emperor. Heaven Shadow King bit his teeth, staring at the visitor. In the entire Green Fire Palace, there was only one celestial master that could lay such pressure on him. That was the greatest sword cultivator recognized by the Green Fire Palace, and one of the 5 palace master of the Green Fire Palace, Sunrise Sword Emperor, Heaven Shadow King. Sunrise Sword Emperor glanced at Heaven Shadow King and spoke coolly. You are a well-known and respected figure in the world. Don't you think hurting a junior of our Green Fire Palace is too far? Too far. Heaven Shadow King snorted. In this world, strength rules, as long as you have strength, so what if you go too far? You are right, this world is about strength. If so, then today I want to know how great your strength is. Sunrise Sword Emperor said coldly, and upon finishing his words, he looked up. Like a lightning, immense sword essence rushed toward Heaven Shadow King. At the same time, the surrounding world had once again become white, cold and frosty. Carrying the long sword, Sunrise Sword Emperor lifted his right hand to draw the longsword behind him. At the moment his palm touched the hilt, bang, horrible sword essence suddenly broke out, and the blade was instantly unsheathed. Before Jian Wushuang had the time to see the movements of Sunrise Sword Emperor, an immaterial sword shadow had already broken out. The sword shadow looked ordinary, but when it glided over, It even left Heaven Shadow King, who had reached the level of Universe Master, stunned. Immediately, aura surged from Heaven Shadow King's body. With the help of the ancient god power, he released more power to brandish the long whip. Bam! A loud noise. The immaterial sword shadow collided with the black long whip head-on, leaving the void crackling. Humph! Heaven Shadow King grunted, and his face immediately paled. He no longer tried to save face and withdrew until he stopped far away from Sunrise Sword Emperor. Then, he managed to get back on his feet. This scene left Jian Wushuang and experts from both the Jin Kingdom and Green Fire Palace in shock. One must know that Heaven Shadow King had absorbed the ancient god power and displayed stronger strength. However, Sunrise Sword Emperor confronted his opponent with his bare hands. It turned out that he was defeated by Heaven Shadow King. Sunrise Sword Emperor is really something. The voice of Jiyu King rang in Jian Wushuang's ears. There is a great gap between the Universe Master and the Celestial Master. Even in the eternal chaotic world, it's rare for a Celestial Master to challenge a Universe Master. However, Sunrise Sword Emperor not only challenged a Universe Master but also displayed power much stronger than a normal Universe Master. In addition, his sword essence is indeed very strong. If I'm not mistaken, he must have opened up two strongest sword principles at the same time, and then combined them to obtain a Dharma body. Two strongest sword principles? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. After a round, Heaven Shadow King lost and retreated to somewhere afar. He dared not to confront Sunrise Sword Emperor again. Many Green Fire Palace Celestial Masters appeared next to Sunrise Sword Emperor. Sunrise Sword Emperor. Palace Master Sunrise Sword. Celestial Masters all bowed. Even the strongest Dark Celestial Master acted respectfully in front of Sunrise Sword Emperor. Palace Master? Jian Wushuang realized. The Green Fire Palace now has a total of 5 Palace Masters. Aside from Void Temple Master, Samsara Temple Master, and Tang Emperor, the 4th should be Sunrise Sword Emperor, but I don't know who'll be the last 5th Palace Master. Sunrise Sword Emperor waved his hand and signaled everyone to get up, and then he said, "When I found life medicines in the nearby areas, I immediately came here. I spent a lot of time on my way here. Today I finally arrived, and it seems that it is not too late." Hearing the words of Sunrise Sword Emperor, many of the Green Fire Palace Celestial Masters looked pleasantly surprised. Sunrise Sword Emperor did not come late, and it was really the right time. Chapter 1126, Dan Xin. Chapter 1126, Dan Xin. Both the experts from the Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom returned to the outside of the Dan Xin Palace again. The two camps confronted each other from a distance. Since a lot of people had been slaughtered by Jian Wushuang previously, the overall strength of the two camps did not differ enormously. The most powerful expert in the Jin Kingdom was Heaven Shadow King, while the Green Fire Palace had Sunrise Sword Emperor to support them. Obviously, Sunrise Sword Emperor was much mightier than Heaven Shadow King, which greatly boosted the morale of experts from the Green Fire Palace. The life elixirs and nirvana elixirs came from the Dan Xin Palace. Sunrise Sword Emperor stared at the Dan Xin Palace indifferently and said slowly, "If I am right, the Dan Xin Palace is controlled by a spirit. Come out, there's no need to hide." Sunrise Sword Emperor's resonant voice penetrated the restriction and went into the Dan Xin Palace. An awkward silence pervaded here, and soon afterwards, a shadowy figure slowly appeared before the crowd from the enormous hall of the Dan Xin Palace. It turned out to be a chubby bald elder who had a pair of eyes as small as those of mouses. He looked quite cunning. Is this man the spirit of the Dan Xin Palace? Celestial Masters from the Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom all looked at this elder surprisedly. He looked ordinary, and if he was put in the crowd, he definitely was the most inconspicuous one. Ha ha! Being stared by so many experts present, the chubby elder let out roars of weird laughter. I planned to play with you for some more time, but now that you have brought my identity out into the open, I have no choice but to make an appearance. Alas, these nirvana elixirs are going to be wasted. He looked terribly sorry for that, and 2 dark purple elixirs appeared in his hands. Everyone on the scene knew what they were. They were nirvana elixirs that they had just fought madly for. Are there any other nirvana elixirs? The celestial masters from the two camps were burning with desire. The chubby elder noticed their expressions and smiled weirdly. He clenched his fists and crushed the two elixirs in his hands into powder in front of those people. After that, he threw them away as if they were rubbish. This. You bastard. You are wasting treasures recklessly. Voices mixed of shock and anger sounded outside the Danshin palace. They had just fought desperately for the 6 nirvana elixirs and quite a few experts died because of that. However, the chubby elder just crushed 2 nirvana elixirs casually. Although they were furious and astonished, they were more confused. They did not understand what this elder wanted to do on earth. The spirit of the Danshin palace, do you have a name? Sunrise Sword Emperor looked at him coldly and still remained calm. Name? Of course, I have. But unfortunately, I have long forgotten it after so many years. Since this is the Danshin palace, just call me Danshin. The chubby elder said. Upon hearing this, the experts from the two camps had an odd expression on their faces. He has forgotten his name. How long has he lived? Jian Wushuang thought and knitted his brows. He has lived since this giant battlefield has existed. Jiyu King stated, as a spirit without a master, he must have been living a lonely life over the years. No one can stand such a life, even a spirit like him. He surely has become eccentric and crazy. That means, Jian Wushuang, he must be a throughout lunatic. Lunatic? Jian Wushuang was shocked. Danshin. Sunrise Sword Emperor opened his mouth again. You'd been on this battlefield for so many years and had always remained silent, but you chose to show up during this period. I assume you must have your reasons. Tell me, what is your purpose? Purpose? Haha, my purpose? The chubby elder laughed out loud crazily. It's very simple. I just want to fool you and make you my playthings. Fool us? Playthings? The experts from the two camps frowned. Danshin continued to laugh crazily. I had been in this damn place for too long. It's so long that I cannot even remember. I haven't ever encountered any man over the years. But when I woke up a decade ago, I finally saw a human expert pass by this area. So, how could I just let him go? I decided to tease him. I threw out a life elixir on purpose and let him find it and surprised him. Later, I threw out a few more life elixirs in succession and let him discover all of them. He was overjoyed and chose to stay here to search for more life elixirs. Then, I guided him to find other life elixirs step by step, from which I enjoyed some fun. This is the only fun I have gained during that hard time. Hearing Danshin's words, Jian Wushuang frowned and thought, he hadn't met any person over that long period. This is an unknown area. Both the experts from the Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom has just explored it in recent years. Thus, that human expert was the first man Danshin has ever encountered. Jiyu King said. Jian Wushuang immediately understood that. Originally, I intended to let that man provide me with a little more fun. I tried to lead him to a place full of dangers and let him die there. But I didn't expect that there would be another human being coming there soon. Obviously, they were from different camps. I deliberately guided them to meet each other and kill each other crazily for life elixirs. Haha, interesting. It's fucking interesting. What's more interesting was that more and more humans came here to search for life elixirs. I designedly threw out life elixirs to cause you guys to fight each other. Seeing that scene, I was greatly pleased. Danshin laughed wildly. Outside the Danshin palace, the celestial masters from the two camps looked terrible. They did not expect that it was Danshin who intentionally threw out the life elixirs on this area. His purpose was to guide them to fight for the life elixirs madly so that he could enjoy some fun. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.